In the final scene of Oyasumi Punpun, a young boy sees a girl for the first time and falls in love. This tiny scene, that is the final scene of the story, mind you, this is the most heartbreaking scene in the whole manga. Throughout the events of the manga, we see the intimate details of Punpun's life, how he grew up, how things changed, how the things that happened in his childhood affected his life in adulthood, how they left him a broken man who needed someone else to blame for how his life turned out, and how he needed someone else to push him into a better place. But despite that all, the first thing we see of Punpun, the first major event in his life, the event that started this all, was a girl transferring to a new class and a boy falling in love. There's a mirroring of these two scenes. The start of Punpun's story is mirrored by the beginning of someone else's. This final scene is trying to tell us something. It's hinting at something. It's hinting that every single thing that we see in this manga, every moment in Punpun's life, every happy moment, every sad moment, every triumph, every fail, every love, every fight, every want, every lie, everything. It will all happen again to someone else, someone disconnected from Punpun and his circle, some new bright-eyed child with no knowledge of the cruelties of the world. This is probably the best and worst moment in any manga, anime, well, any media form I have ever seen. And funnily enough, despite all the sad moments in Punpun's life, it was this moment that hit me the hardest. The start of someone else's journey, someone just like Punpun a decade ago. A young boy sees a young girl for the first time and falls in love, just like Punpun. It brings up this idea that the cycle continues. Everything that happened to Punpun will happen again to some other poor kid. Despite all the pain that Punpun went through in his life, someone else will inevitably go through the same things. The cycle continues. It may not be this specific kid we see in the final chapter, but imagine how many other kids are having a similar moment. The world is large, and the lives being lived are many. But what does this mean for us, the people who are reading this manga, the people who are experiencing Punpun's story? It means that everything that is you, everything you've experienced in life, everything you identify with, it will happen again to someone else, someone younger, someone who knows less than you, someone who must learn the same harsh lessons as you, go through the same amount of pain, go through the same horrible circumstances. The verbs and nouns of their life might be different, but the emotions and the feelings will be the same. That idea, that is the most saddening and terrible thing I have ever seen or read, and it is the message that Oyasumi Punpun ends with. It is the message Inio Asano wanted to tell. Nowadays, when I see kids younger than me, I kind of get a little sad. I end up thinking about what they will have to go through to reach my age. The pains and struggles of growing up, learning the same harsh lessons I've learned. I have this weird sense of pity for them, for the future that they will have to endure. But at the same time, I'm completely powerless to change it. There's this idea that we go through our struggles in life so that no one else has to, that we can warn the younger generation against making our mistakes and push humanity forward, hopefully without our baggage. And to some degree that is true, and there is value in that. But the world is not under our control. There are infinite variables, people, lives being lived on this earth, and we can only hope to help so many. Just like Punpun, we cannot prevent our pains from happening to someone else. It will all happen. And just like Punpun, we will be blissfully unaware it is happening, living our lives passively in our corner of the world. What's so scary and sad about this idea is the empathy you have for this hypothetical person. Someone whose life you cannot touch, whose pains you cannot hope to prevent. Imagine yourself going through all that pain, all those trials, all those tribulations. Imagine someone else going through them. In a sense, it's sympathy for yourself, the younger version of you. Sympathy for that younger you that had to go through all of that. The idea that we cannot stop that from happening is, well, terrifying. I think the genius of Oyasumi Punpun is that it shows you the different stages of one man's life. It's weirdly relatable. It follows Punpun and those that are close to him over a decade, over many years of his life, over the many imperfections in his life, the genuine pain and suffering that these characters go through and grow through, just in the process of reaching adulthood. Suddenly it all makes sense. The relatability of the story, the real struggles of people shown in manga form. Inio Asano wants to make a point here, that history repeats itself. The same moments tend to happen again, but to different people, the lighter ones as well as the darker ones. Even the depths of depravity we sometimes have to endure, and we are completely powerless to it. It will all happen again to some other person who was born just a few seconds ago. And I think that message is interesting. It's unique, and to hell did it stick with me. It's a testament to how truly special this story really is. When I see someone younger than me, I think about the final moments of Oyasumi Punpun. I think about how innocent this person is. Innocent of the injustices of this world, wide-eyed and full of wonder. It's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking that someone else will have to go through the toughest moments of my life, but at the same time, they will also get to experience the best moments of my life. And maybe there's some comfort in that, but that's the way it goes. The old generation give way to the new, and the new generation make the same mistakes of the old. I suppose that's why they call it a cycle. Somewhere in the world, in some other school, in some other classroom, in front of some other elementary schooler's eye, a girl just transferred to a new class. and a boy fell in love with her. And so ends Oyasumi Punpun, and another story begins.